All right, hey everybody, back with another newsfeed video here for you. This one right off the bat from the drive, 2025 Wrangler ditches manual crank windows after all these years. It was for a long time one of the only vehicles out there where you could get manual crank, but they've dumped it for 2025. And realistically, not many Jeeps, even in the sport models, had, most of them the dealers were supplying were upgraded anyway. Yes, it's going to upset some people. I always like Jeep because they were simple. This is just another electrical part that can fail after 100,000 miles. And you know what? Maybe they're right, but there's plenty of newfangled parts to worry about before you go decrying the standardization of simple electrical switches. By that logic, we should all be greedy or grumpy about analog brakes, and they're right to that extent. The electric windows, they've been out for so long, they're proven to work pretty well, and even when they go out, they're not too expensive. But I also do agree with the simplicity aspect of things that, like, I cannot stand, like my dad's got a Toyota Sienna minivan, and it's a 2023. You can't actually open the doors. You have to hit the button to open the side doors. If you try to open a handle, it jams the whole thing up, or however it does this stuff, but I hate it. And, like on the back of the tailgates when they're automatic, to put them up, I got to touch the button and wait for it to go up or wait for it to come down. And these are all just places that are willing to fail. I can very easily just reach up and pull the thing down and close it. I do it on my 4Runner all the time. And if 10 years from now it goes out, I just replace like $40 struts. I don't have to replace a $2,500 electrical system and strut and all the kind of stuff that we see go out in these things all the time, which is why you see people using prop rods made out of 2x4s and 1x2s and old umbrellas and crap like that to try and hold their back tailgate up on there because they can't afford to replace these things on them. Seen it so many times, especially with like the Grand Cherokees and the old and stuff like that that are great trucks still on the road, but these electronics wear out. People don't want to deal with that stuff. I fit into that camp. I don't want to deal with things that are going to break. I can close a door, I can roll up a window, I can actually, close a hatch, I can open a door, I don't need the electrical stuff to tell me or do it for me that people think today is a convenience, but in reality is going to be a headache down the road if you plan on keeping a vehicle longer or running it hard. So I understand what people are getting at that are going to be very bummed out about this lack of manual crank windows. And there's also something fun about doing it. Being able to just reach over and roll your window down at a drive-through, it's just rewarding. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. I will miss these. Not that I've had a vehicle with them in a long time, but our JK that we had these in there. It was a Sport, and we loved it. It was just fun, and it worked. It worked good. So point being, it is what it is, but this is the times we've come to, and finally that is gone. And then we also talked about how you cannot get the 3.6 Pentastar V6 with the automatic transmission. Now, hopefully that will change. I did a full video on that. We will see. You can still get the 3.6 with a manual transmission, and that's kind of a tricky one right now too, because they've had a lot of problems with their manual transmissions over the last 2 years. Hopefully they got all that heating issue and all that stuff sorted out. But a lot of people want this simple 3.6 Pentastar. It is one of the most proven engines in history, and it is rock solid. And now the 2-liter turbo 4, it's not a bad motor, but it's also not proven. And it also is more complicated. People don't want that. They want simplicity. And I'm hoping that Jeep is going to put back, and once some of these 24 sell out, give us the option of the 3.6 Pentastar in the 2025 with an auto. They already charge us a stupid fortune for the auto. The price is ridiculously high, but I'm hoping they put that in there. And if you're thinking about buying a manual, make sure you test drive a Jeep. Jeep is one of the only vehicles out there that the clutch system on a Jeep is not always that good, especially for short people. Like even your wife or like me is only 5'6". It works, but my wife at 5'3", she can't drive it. She struggles. She has to be too right on the wheel to be able to engage that clutch all the way down. So if you're thinking about a manual, make sure you and your wife drive it to make sure that it is going to work for you. It does have a unique clutch system in it, or at least the JK has. I didn't drive a new JT manual because at the time I bought mine, you couldn't. They were all on a stop sale. But the JK was a little trickier. Like I said, my wife hated it. She could do it, but she didn't like how close she had to be to the steering wheel for it. So something to consider in there. And moving on from there, oh, look at all these ads. I'm sorry about the ads, but they would not let me open the article unless I turned off the ad blocker. And holy cow, there's a lot of ads. So we're going to just go through this quick here, though. But basically, in Europe and in England and stuff like that, they are very upset because they are being forced to have speed limiters on their vehicles. Now, these are not just like what we're talking about here in California where it'll beep and yell at you. These ones actually the vehicle changes your speed limit based on the speed. It's pretty crazy. And this will be the tech that comes here. New ISA technology uses GPS to warn drivers when they're going over the speed limit on a road they travel on. Under the new European rules, all cars sold in showroom need to be required to have ISA fitted regardless of where the vehicle was manufactured. But introduction of speed limiters across has sparked concerns for drivers are pissed. But it says in here, the ISA technology uses GPS data and traffic sign recognition cameras to determine the speed limit in an area and adjusts the vehicle's speed accordingly. Okay, that's taking it to a whole new level. It's one thing for them to beep and piss and moan at you, but for them to actually change your speed, kind of like how adaptive cruise control, your vehicle is going to change your speed based on the configurable, the speed limits that the cameras pick up on there. How is anybody ever going to pass anybody? How is anybody ever going to move? How is the line of traffic ever going to flow when we are throttled by our vehicles? Pretty sad. Well, it says, now that drivers have the option to turn off the ISA system, but there's a catch. It reactivates every time the car is turned on. So it's just like that auto start stuff. Pretty ridiculous that we have to deal with this thing here. So even if you disable it, then you cannot turn it off permanently. You can override it by a hard press on the accelerator. That's nice that it's easy to do, but the system will switch right back on every time you turn on the ignition. Similar way auto start stop does. This is unbelievable. This is the world we have come to. It is unbelievable the amount of overreach. Who are they to tell us how to drive, what we can? Who are they at all for this? And why do governments let this happen? I cannot understand it. Some systems vibrate the accelerator pedal or emit audio warnings. Others may reduce engine power or push back against the driver's foot. I mean, this stuff is unreal. This is unreal that this is the world we live in. All right, let's get off this. Like I said, sorry about all the ads. Next one here, Toyota is going to replace the faulty 8-speed autos in the 24 Tacomas, but there is a catch. Eligible vehicles must display one of 6 diagnostic trouble codes to qualify for this. So, service bulletin is for autos only. It does not include the manual transmissions. They have some of their own issues, but they're, I guess, being fixed as well, too. Toyota will only repair the 2024 models if they show one of these 6 fault codes. The entire transmission and torque assembly will be changed, okay? So, they're giving you a list of VINs. Okay, you got to first see if you fit into this VIN category. Then you know you're in, okay? But there is still, this is not a safety recall, so there's no safety issue there. So Toyota won't offer a solution for all of them unless they will only, or actually instead, they're only going to fix the ones that broke or break in the future. So if you have a Tacoma automatic and your VIN fits into this category and you thought you were going to get a new one, you're not, okay? Unless you pull a code. If you haven't pulled a code yet, you're going to have to just keep driving it until eventually it breaks on you and pulls the code. Then you will get a new transmission and a new torque converter in there. So pretty sad how that's working. Pretty much a bummer. I mean, this is great news for those who have already experienced a fault. You know, if it's going to fall in the future, but it is stressful driving around knowing that any time your transmission could just go out on you. But you cannot do nothing till it pulls one of these codes. So, interesting information there. Take it the way you want. Do with it as you please. Put your comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.